Okay, so right now the government needs to bring in small processors, fund more small processors, I mean cottage industries, where the raw materials still coming from these places can be processed by those small people and the Dangotes can, if they meet that standard, the Dangotes and the likes can now mop up that. That's another value chain. Mop up that to go into their next production.
And that's where you have the Bank of Agriculture coming in, and also the Bank of Industry, because I know that the Bank of Industry supports cottage farms, cottage businesses, and then the Bank of Agriculture, its sole aim, of course, is to support the agricultural sector. But is it that they still need to be pushed a little bit more? Do they have enough incentives to give to farmers? Do you get enough incentive to go into the farm to grow tomatoes?
No, we don't get incentives. However, in the last 8 years, this is the first time I'm happy with Bank of Industry. There's a program they just came out with to encourage cottage industries in processing tomatoes. Now, beyond the processing tomatoes, which is the equipment, we need more raw materials. We need the CBN to focus more on the small-scale farmers. All the big processors, all the processors we have now, depend on their raw materials coming from 80% from rural farmers, 1 hectare, 2 hectare. So we need more money to go in there for the seeds. If federal government comes out now, CBN, all the committee comes out to say, okay, we're pushing out seeds to farmers, hybrid seeds, we will get higher yields. But now, the average farmer still gets about 5 to 6 tons per hectare. But there are seeds in the country right now that can increase that to 30 and 70. So we need government to come out and probably throw out more free seeds. I use the word throw out, because the farmers who can engage now, once they have higher yield, then there will be surplus to process. But right now, we're approaching the season where tomato, the price always goes up. So they need to have higher yields. All right.
So even though in the bid to try to get higher yield, getting more land to be able to plant this particular fruit, we've still had, well, they dealt a little bit with it, but is it totally eradicated? That menace of tuta absoluta that we had to battle for quite a long time and gave farmers and even consumers alike a big scare. But it appears this policy makes no provision to check, a repeat of this menace.
You see, research and development, the aspect that there's focus on now is the equipment. 70% of this attention needs to go to the raw material, which is research. They need to fund more research. They need to fund the extension agents. There's still a huge gap in extension services. So we need to hear more about that backward integration from government, what plan they have in place to ensure that, yes, if there is another outbreak of tuta absoluta, the farmers don't have centers that they can run to. So they have to go to the state governments or the state offices, the head offices for these things. And so we need more investments going into that area. But you see, tuta has always been around in one form or the other. It was just that last year it was just ravaging. And if care is not taken, most of the chemicals we use, we've overused them. I mean, we farmers now. So we need to use more potent, the real potent chemicals are expensive, out of the reach of the farmers. So if government really wants this to work, they need to ensure that the farmers can get these inputs at a reduced price and credit. I'm not, outside the seeds of throwing at them, every other thing should be done as business.
And maybe that's why, the circular also talked about the establishment of an industrial policy and competitiveness advisory council. It's supposed to, among other things, take a look at some of these issues and challenges that are being faced by the farmers and try to address it. But what else would you want to see coming out from this council?
I would like to see a robust M&E, monitoring and evaluation. I would like to see huge investment in monitoring the implementation, which has always been a challenge. Now they need to set up some charities or work with some charities, foreign and local, who will monitor, because huge funds, will be disbursed into these sectors now. So we need them to work transparency, a measure of transparency, If they're not monitored properly, the big factories, the big processors will be also at the receiving end if this is not well monitored. So we need the government to open up so that it can be monitored. We have various NGOs, there's TechnoServe International, who train free of charge. And they have also projects ongoing in the Northern Belt. So we need government to open up. We need the organizers of the committee to open up these policies such that foreign NGOs and local genuine NGOs can monitor. That is when this would work. Because
it's a very important, it's a very laudable policy, and it's very, very robust as well, even though it seems as if there's still loopholes. But as we go on, we're hoping that that will be addressed, because it's expected to create at least 60,000 additional jobs in fresh food production and processing. But how long do you think before we begin to see that achieved? And how long do you think will it take for Nigeria to attain self-sufficiency in tomato production?
You see, around here in Nigeria, we work miracles. And I believe in Nigerians. Now, I personally believe in this administration, because not only you see the political will to do these things. Now, if the government throws her weight at it, I can tell you in 2-3 years we'll be there. 2-3, I'm very optimistic about it, but we need the government to throw the weight to say no-go area. The same way they're touching corruption and co. If they throw that weight in 3 years, because you see, the factories that can do these things are already established. Dangote is there and co. So all we need to do is to ensure that production, and the Dangotes and co can go to rest and also throw in their resources. So 3 years with a willing government.
African farmer Mogaji, I'm very sure you might not have to wait too long if this policy is properly implemented. Thank you so much for coming on the program this morning.
You're welcome.
Our Business Morning continues after now. Stay with us.